Good evening and a very warm welcome to Television Tonga's news package for tonight. Making headlines, Her Majesty Queen Mother Halaiwal Mata'aho officiated at Te Pō College annual singing competition last night. Chairman of the National Committee for Peace and Development strives to promote peace in Tonga, and His Serene Highness Prince Tupelehake emphasized the importance of healthy diet to the locals. These and more stories later on in this bulletin. I'm Fatai Whaingaa with your news for tonight. Her Majesty the Queen Mother Halaiwal Mata'aho last night officiated at Te Pō College singing competition. Her Majesty is the school's president for its Parent and Teachers Association. Last night's program was held at the Dr. Moulton Memorial Church in Toloa. Anasi Falikano with the details.
Students, parents, students and teachers of Te Pō College last night witnessed the outstanding performance of the students in the school's annual singing competition in Toloa. Present at the program was the Honourable Minister of Internal Affairs, Lord Vaea, Minister of Health, Lord Tuiahawhito, Minister of Police, Honourable Sosifa Tutawhaiva, Lord Tangi of Waunukunuka, the President of the Free Wesleyan Church, Reverend Dr. Ahio, and many guests. This annual choral night aims at encouraging the students' music talent. This year's singing competition was conducted in two main. The first category was the compulsory selection of the hymn and the anthem composed by Hubert Perry called I Was Glad When They Said Unto Me. In a remark from one of the panels of judges, Reverend Dekilati Balavi, in music, a composition of four basics came about making one song. However, there are differences between alto and contralto. Contralto is sung at the Tongan dance, ma'ulu'ulu and other occasions, while the alto is aimed at embracing the song but not to spoil the beautiful soprano. When it comes to family, alto is like the daughter of the family. She will remain obedient and always follow her parents' footpath, but never to make decision. This year's winner was claimed by the Sione Tomasi in Halotiuti's house. Thanks, the Deputy Principal of Reverend Longinusi Tuipulotu thanked everyone for making the competition possible. I wish to thank all families, friends and everyone who are present here tonight to honor the event. I hope that God Almighty will pour His many blessings upon the Queen Mother and everyone who are here in this event. This singing competition is part of the school's preparation for its upcoming 150th anniversary. Te Pō College singing competition was broadcast live on Radio 1 and will be broadcast on both Television Tonga 1 and 2 soon.
There is a connection among family, children and this year's theme for the International Day of Peace. The idea was brought up during a panel discussion on Radio Tonga conducted by the Honourable Chairman of the National Committee for Strengthening Capacities for Peace and Development, CBED, Lord Fafanua, and some members of the committee. The program was based on how Tonga values the theme for this year's International Day of Peace and a preparation to observe and mark it tomorrow. Sinlato reports.
In a televised program on Television Tonga News, the Honourable Chairman of the National Committee for Strengthening Capacity for Peace and Development, or CPAD, Lord Fafanua, spoke more of the theme. The theme Education for Peace is a challenge and it's something to work for. If we educate our children on the 4 golden rules, which includes to make and keep peace, for instance, keeping good relationship with others. There are also concerns over other factors that may influence peace, for it is as it will never happen if children are not taught on how to. It involves non-communicable diseases. Work is needed to be done to solve those issues before peace can be obtained everywhere. Meanwhile, Laumanu Petelo of the Ministry of Education said the Honourable Minister and Director of Education and Training have pledged to continue working and planning on how to teach their children the value of tolerance and mutual respect. The idea of peace is included in all lessons, especially the Tongan subject, where each students are taught at an earlier stage of life, of living in a peaceful community. In all the schools, including preschools, primary schools, secondary and tertiary level, the issue of peace is involved in their curriculum. Meanwhile, the in-country representative of UNDP, Bilika Tuita, emphasized the importance of the theme and why it relates to education. She says it values the importance to safeguard their children and teachers. I believe that this is part of the idea initiated by the Secretary General of the United Nations, that is to invest in the schools and teachers aiming to build a fair and inclusive world that embraces diversity, and for us to fight for peace and defend it with all our might. The United Nations invite all nations and people to honor and otherwise commemorate the day through education and public awareness on issues related to peace. The events planned for tomorrow to commemorate World Peace Day includes a march and also a dedication prayer service to mark the day, which will be broadcast live on Radio Tonga 1.
From Parliament, in continuing the presentations of the parliamentary visit from the People's Representatives, it was clear from the parliamentary report from both the representative of Tongatapu 6 and 9, Susifa Tutafaiva and Falisi Tupo, that the top priority from each constituency is related to road maintenance. In presenting each of their parliamentary reports to the Speaker and the members of the House, similar concerns were raised by both representatives, which includes road towards bush allotments and also maintenance of roads towards the tourist sites which are popular in the area. Kalolaine Tonglawa takes up that story.
Both People's Representative for Tongatapu number 6 and Tongatapu number 9 did not present any financial report regarding the constituency fund to the tune of more than 100,000 pa'anga. According to the People's Representative for Tongatapu number 6, Susifa Tutafaiva, voiced the needs from the people in his constituency relating to the funds which was first allocated for students' bus fares and scholarships, which was later diverted as a fund to assist the teachers. Another issue of concern from the people registered under Tongatapu number 6 was the legal age for the elderly citizens to benefit from government's elderly benefit scheme. Mr. Tutafaiva also told the House that the people in his constituency requested a special attention for community patrol officers. Also, from the parliamentary report presented by the People's Representative for Tongatapu number 9, Falis Tupo, similar concerns were raised by the Member Parliament. It includes the need for the road maintenance project to be carried out to some of the road towards bush allotments and the tourist sites, including the beaches. Mr. Tupo told the House this will help boost tourism sector as many of the tourist sites in Tonga are located in this constituency. During Mr. Tupo's presentation of his parliamentary visit report, he also spoke of the concern raised from the people in Tongatapu number 9 regarding the drainage systems in the village. The People's Representative for Tongatapu number 9 says the drainages are connected to the ocean, which affects the living organisms in the area. Therefore, this operation has affected people's livelihoods as many of the people in the area earn living from fishing. Meanwhile, in responding to the parliamentary report, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Infrastructure, Sami Vaipulu, told the People's Representatives the only solution for the drainage in this constituency was to connect to the ocean to avoid floods. Also, the Deputy Prime Minister appealed to the public to work together with the government for the country's development. Reporting for Television Tonga News, I'm Kalolaine Tonglava.
His Serene Highness Prince Tupelehake emphasized the importance of healthy diet and knowing the alternatives of preparing it, as it can generate income to the families. Prince Tupilehake says related stakeholders are working together to support this tribe, especially when tourists visited the kingdom. He revealed this in an interview with Radio and Television Tonga News this morning. Linda Filiai reports.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Food, Forestries and Fisheries is in full support of the initiative recommended by His Serene Highness Prince Tuipelehake as part of the awareness for the public to know the right recipe for preparing of traditional dishes. His Serene Highness Prince Tuipelehake says food play an important role in promoting a peaceful society. Food contributes a lot in promoting a peaceful nation. His late Majesty King George Tupo I handed over the land to his people for them to occupy it with food and crops to reduce any risk of starvation among his people. He says food also play an important role in tourism sector. I'm taking part in this program because Her Royal Highness Princess Salote Mafleopilolevu Tuita has inspired me in her work with Chinese counterpart to set up a new bank in Tonga aiming at bringing more than 1 million tourists to Tonga every year. Tonga has been known to many as paradise, but I've heard a lot of complaints from tourists in regards of many tourism factor, so this program is part of our preparation for a better Tonga in the future. Meanwhile, Officer in charge of the Food Division, Mrs. Luciane Taufa, says the ministry are looking forward to extend their cooking program to educate the public. The idea to start this cooking program was an initiative of His Serene Highness Prince Tuipelehake, whom he used to be a former minister of this ministry. We are not surprised with his idea because he knows more what we can do to cater the public and what we cannot do. The program is also looking at recruiting more participants in the future, including representatives from restaurants and others.
The Tongan people obtain more opportunities of making it to the final stage of the United States Diversity Visa Lottery, but majority does not seem to be interested in this program. The U.S. Immigrant Visa Chief in its ambassadorial office to Suva in Tonga, Cindy Crook, reveals this to Radio and Television Tonga News this morning. The United States high-ranking official made the statement while announcing its diversity visa lottery will be available for application starting October 2nd until November 3rd this year. She says Tongans are highly educated and are well employed, making them eligible for the program.
Our region, the Oceania region, has the highest percentage chance of winning in the whole world. You have a roughly 5% chance of winning if you enter. We traditionally from our region see about 12,000 to 15,000 people enter, and we usually issue about 500 to 700 visas. That the majority of the people that enter are Fijian. I think that Tongans make great applicants for the diversity visa lottery program because they have a high level of education. Most Tongans can easily meet that minimum requirement that helps them qualify for the visa or qualifies them for the visa once they've been chosen as a winner.
She says this program was initiated by the U.S. government in the 1990s to ensure that those wanting to stay in the U.S. are given an opportunity to do so. She also advised those that has not completed their secondary school studies not to take up the program, never to take part, because there is only less chance of winning if they apply. This also applies to those that have been deported to the countries after committing a crime in the United States. Also in the visiting officials was the U.S. non-immigrant visa chief in its ambassadorial office in Suva, Fiji, Sarah Cranston. She says they're now accepting appointments for non-immigrant visa applicants in their office at the Fa'aonelua Convention Center.
There's no additional fee for an emergency appointment. The fee is the same. It's $160 US, and if paid from Tonga, it's usually paid through Western Union. You need to bring the original Western Union receipt to your appointment for all appointments. When there's an emergency reason to travel, what we consider an emergency in the embassy is usually life or death, would be often funeral of an immediate family member. We can't do it for all extended family members, but immediate would count as mother, father, brother and sister, sometimes grandparents. Or we have a business facilitation program for urgent travel for business purposes. That would be for business in the United States that comes up at the last minute.
They also urged locals never to pay their application fees to anyone who contacted them via email or phone due to scam where fees are only required to be paid to its office in Suva. The Open Heart International team from Australia has completed its mission in Tonga after carrying out cardiology assistance to 30 patients. The team is returning to Australia after 2 weeks of working at the hospital, aiding the people who need their help the most. The team will start departing Tonga tomorrow, Saturday 21st of September, and the rest of the team will return next week. Sinlato reports.
Talks. These are nurses and doctors amongst other volunteer staff from Australia who were in Tonga to aid its people, especially those with heart defects. The Open Heart International is made up of 44 staff who are taking time out of their holidays to help the people. The team is from the Seventh-day Adventist Hospital in Sydney, Australia. In an interview with Television Tonga, the coordinator of the program at Viola Hospital, Dr. Tuakase Whakovi-Kaitau, says the heart operations finished off on Thursday, September the 19th. The youngest to be operated on was a 1 year and 10-month-old baby, and the oldest patient was 52 years old. This is great news, as 30 people have been operated on because of heart problems. This is the most people to be operated on, and the team has operated on them in all of the 4 years in which they visited Tonga. There were major operations taking place. Some of them were in a critical condition that we thought no operation could be done on them, but they did it anyway. From the 39 patients operated on, 13 of them were women and 17 were men. 9 out of the 30 patients were children under the age of 14, and 20 under the age of 20, and 18 were 20 years old and over. There are 2 types of heart diseases that the Open Heart International team operated on, which is congenital and rheumatic heart disease. They are heart diseases that a person is born with, or heart disease that is developed later on in life. Dr. Whakovi-Kaitau says most of the cases had rheumatic heart disease. Most of the cases were rheumatic heart disease. That is when one of the valves in the heart is defect. The defect valves can go up to 2 at times. This year, there was 1 case with 3 valves in the heart needing cardiology operation. Most of the patients with rheumatic heart disease only had to receive medical treatment to one of the valves. 6 people needed operation on 2 of the 4 valves in the heart. The team is returning, but there are very few people who need their operation. Yet Dr. Whakovi-Kaitau says with confidence that these people are in a stable condition and do not really need heart operation. The Open Heart International team revisited Tonga in 2015.
An exhibition was carried out at the school's compound to mark the day. This is to showcase the children's work throughout the year. Present at the program as the guest of honor was the Director of Education, Emily Bonvalo. Speaking to Television Tonga News, the principal, Katarina Matui, says they are happy to take part in this auspicious event. We are happy to celebrate this year's together with the children. The schools consist of students ranging from Class 1 to Form 2. Such program also gives us fond memories of the school back in the days. This year's theme is for Children's Anniversary is Preparing Students for Tonga. The students mark the day with performing songs and action songs. Anasiu Falekano for Television Tonga News.
That's the local news. Here's the latest from around the region.